It's a Wonderful Life is a movie about a man who wondered what life would be like if he'd never been born. The story illustrates how much of an impact one person's life can have on the lives of so many others. It's an interesting thought, really. What would the world be like without you? Without your influence, your love, your expertise? How much of an impact do you make without you even knowing it? How many children do we impact at Head Start alone? How many parents do we inspire in ways we'll never know? It's an interesting question, because without individuals there would be no Head Start, and without Head Start, what would our families' lives be like? George Villareal is a normal child. He's curious about the world around him, loves to play with toys, and attends the Prince Head Start Center in Tucson, Arizona. But beneath the surface, George and his family have lived with a challenge many of us would find hard to even imagine.
When George was born, he was hospitalized because we tried to feed him breast milk, and he did not tolerate it.
The doctors thought that George was just lactose intolerant, but it was more than that.
When he was 1.5 years old, we were accustomed to eating bread and spaghetti, and George would eat with us. He had an allergic reaction around his mouth, face, and also caused bleeding and vomiting.
More tests were conducted on young George, and the family soon learned that it was the wheat in the flour that was making him so sick. With this information, the family thought that life could go on, but little did anyone know that George was about to face his most serious crisis yet.
George was about 3 years old, and he was always taking medications. One day, I gave him a glass of pineapple juice to drink. I went to my bedroom. When I returned to him about 10 minutes later, his face was distorted, his eyes were bulging out of his face, and it looked like blood. His mouth was very swollen.
George's condition was grim, and the family immediately rushed him to the hospital. Although he eventually recovered from this latest attack, the event left the family in a desperate situation. Without any signs of cure or hope, Francelia and her family resigned themselves to living as normally as possible, ever cautious of George's diet and his environment.
When George was old enough to attend Head Start, I was afraid to bring him to Head Start. I was apprehensive about it because of the different types of food that he would be exposed to.
The teachers assured Francelia that everything was going to be all right. H&S specialists implemented a special meal plan for George and introduced the family to wheat and dairy substitutes to help him eat foods like the other children. For the first time in a long time, George was able to eat with the family without having to worry.
The memory that I have most of is the first time he ate a pancake. George had never eaten a pancake. I think Francelia and I just cried and Tammy cried.
I felt very, very happy to prepare pancakes for George and bread for the first time. I see him in his face.
He was like, his brother sat next to him. He says, "You can't eat that pancake. You're not allowed to eat pancakes." So we explained, this is a special pancake. And just the way George's face lit up. I was in tears, his mom was in tears. It was just something very special to me to be able to see this child eat things he's never eaten.
Francelia is enrolled in the Family Literacy Program and is the center representative on the Parent Policy Council. She credits Head Start with helping her understand new ways to relate to her children.
Head Start has helped me tremendously. It has changed my way of thinking because I am from a different culture and country. But I really like this culture and what I have learned in the classroom. It has also helped me become a better mother in that I am more conscientious and more tolerant. It has also helped me to make the time for each child, as each child is different. It doesn't mean that because they are born from the same mother that they are all three the same. I still need to allow them to express their own ideas. This is what I have learned and I have put into practice. The positive language is just beautiful.
Just how much of an impact do we make in others' lives? We need only look at the face of a boy who can finally eat food like other children to learn the answer. Head Start was able to help Francelia and her family, and they're just one example out of 40 years worth of caring and teamwork that has made Head Start what it is today.